This edition of Brothers on the Board is talking all about side gigs that teachers can do over summer. And it's really not just teachers, but teachers can do over summer to try to make a little extra cash on the side. Welcome to Brothers on the Board, the podcast where we become better teachers together. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Brothers on the Board. It is Tuesday. Well, for most of you, if you're listening on the day of release, it's Tuesday. And for many of you, it is the last Tuesday. And I am pretty pumped about that. Ready to spend my summer kind of working on a variety of things. Wes, this is your last Tuesday, right?
It is. Yeah, it is my last Tuesday. And I'm also pumped, but not as pumped because I will be going straight in to summer school. So,
okay. Well, we're going to be getting into that in just a minute because this edition of Brothers on the Board is talking all about side gigs that teachers can do over summer. And it's really not just teachers, but teachers can do over summer to try to make a little extra cash on the side. So here's how we're going to kind of structure this. I'm going to discuss this first. And then Wes will talk about his experiences. And then we're going to shout out the community with some of the things that they told us that they do during the summer and see if any of this is useful to you. Hopefully you walk away with something that you say, hey, I could do that. That sounds not too bad. And we can go from there. So I'm going to start with what I do now. I'm going to go ahead and kind of begin by saying that I have been notoriously lazy over summers my entire life. Okay, I need you to understand that I think I was probably in 8th grade, probably 7th or 8th grade, before I realized that the entire world just didn't shut down for summer. Our dad was a teacher. Our mom worked as a school cook. All my aunts and uncles were teachers. Our whole family was off for every summer. So I just assumed everyone was off for summer. So when it came time for me to realize, wait, other jobs don't get off for summer, I was kind of out on that. So I've never really worked during the summer. I've always been very much like, nope, I am playing video games, copious amounts of Mountain Dew and video games. I'm going to pretend like I'm 12 for the next 2 months. That's kind of where I usually sat. But I will say, over the last few years, I kind of began working with a company called Leap, and I tutor for the ACT. Now, this tutoring gig is awesome. I love it. And there's a variety of reasons that I love it. For one, I teach middle school. And this is a way or an opportunity for me to work with older students that I don't normally get to work with. So that's one thing. Another thing is I'm working with students from different districts that I don't normally work with. And different districts, different communities just are different. And it's always kind of interesting to get different personalities, different people from different backgrounds in and to work with them. I think that's really cool. And additionally, it's remote. So I work on Zoom. I just chill. I help them with their English, with their reading, with their science. And the best part about it is you see progress, right? With teaching, a lot of times, unfortunately, by the end of the year, you feel like you've went backwards a little bit. And with this, you usually don't. Typically, pretty much always, people that come in usually raise their score by several points at least, typically. And it's always really cool when you get the results back at the end of their sessions and you see the progress that they've made. It's a really good feeling. It makes you feel good about yourself, and you're making a little extra money on the side. So that is kind of my experience. That's what I do. In case you were wondering, I think it starts like 20, a little over 20 an hour, 21, 22 an hour, something like that. And it's really nice. You kind of set your own schedule, work when you want, sort of thing. I really like it. So again, that's called Leap. You can always kind of look them up if you're interested. I think it's a great place to work. I love it. Now, unfortunately, that's kind of the end of my summer teaching or summer working experience. The rest of the time, I am sitting, um, doing yard work or laying in the house. That's
You
basically it.
you
So,
you also have worked on your book in previous summers.
yeah, I've worked on my book, but I think I would consider that more of a hobby than I would like a. It was never. I was never thinking, oh, I'm gonna make a ton of like I'm gonna make
Shout
a lot of extra money on
shout
this.
out of Things Man Made on Amazon.
Yeah, it's
It is
there. It's
there.
there. It exists.
It
It
is a
exists.
thing.
It is there. It's a science fiction novel. I did spend a lot of time working on that, but it isn't. Again, it's something I kind of would see as more of a
Hmm.
hobby, and it's one of those things that um, it never. It's not exactly the most lucrative thing in the world. If you ever want to be an author, it's hard. It's tough out there.
Very
Just in
difficult.
case you were wondering, if you were thinking about quitting your teaching career and being an author, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, maybe don't do that. I'm just saying, yeah, you got to eat. Anyways, um, Wes, go ahead now. Tell us what your experience has been, which is more than me. You are more summer inclined than I am. I will admit that. So go ahead, talk to us about what you have done in the summers over your teaching career.
So yeah, I have a little bit of a longer list of activities that I have done. So just all kinds of different little side gigs here and there to earn a little bit of extra cash. Since I started teaching, I don't think I've had a summer off. Maybe one summer where I did not do anything extra. Um, so starting with the first summer, I was working with the maintenance crew at my school district. We It was called Paint Crew. So I was obviously I painted. I went into the buildings, painted, fixed things.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help but think how funny it would be if you were like, we were called Paint Crew, and we went in and we fixed sinks, and we like if you didn't
We
paint,
did,
if you did anything
yeah.
different, you're like, wait, what?
I
Paint?
mean,
Why you call
it
that?
wasn't just painting though. So like we did painting, but we also did like some like caulking work, some like basic foundation stuff. We did fix a few maintenance things, small things that could, like, door hinges and cabinets that were loose, and desks that like legs maybe loose. We fixed those. um,
You just put a book under one of them?
yeah, that is exactly what we did. Yes. No. No, we tightened them, right? We had to,
Uh,
screwdriver and all that fun
I
stuff.
got you. I got you.
But
I didn't know you knew how to use a screwdriver, so I'm
yeah,
impressed.
I do. Yeah, I do actually.
All right,
Keep that
that's
on the
good.
DL from people
Yeah,
around
from
here. But
Taylor.
yeah, from my
You don't
wife.
need to tell your wife.
We don't need to tell her about that. But yes, we did that. We did caulking. Like I said, we went around and painted. Um, you know, we did a lot of it was a lot of hard manual labor. It was very rewarding. If your district has something like that, I mean, it was, again, like you said with your tutoring, like you saw progress, right? You go into a building, the like paint was chipped, it didn't look nice, and when you left, looked a lot better, a lot more clean, a lot fresher. And that was a very good feeling. Like once you got done with a room, you would be exhausted. Like I was so sore. Um, and teaching is not the most manual labor intensive job. So it was a nice change of pace from the norm for me. So that was my first one. It didn't pay great. It wasn't like substantial. I don't remember exactly what the pay was, but it was like lower than like $20 an hour. I know that, something around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it was kind of low key. We got to kind of take breaks and work at our own pace and things like that. So it wasn't bad. So if your district has some kind of maintenance paint crew, you might want to consider doing that if you want something that's a little bit change of pace from education. But going into COVID, um, I looked for a job that I could do remote. That didn't involve me being around a bunch of people. and obviously schools were closed at the time. So I picked up door dashing, and so that was the second one. And I've done that a few summers. Door dashing, that's a really good one because you get to like set your own schedule. You can do whenever you want. You just turn the app on and you just go. Um, it's a little bit different now. They've changed it since I did it last. I know that it is a little bit more difficult to uh, set. You have to like schedule ahead a little bit now. It's not as like immediate as it was when I first started.
Okay.
Yeah.
I considered it. I considered it a few times actually, and it's like, so I'm reading like, do I have to interact with people like, and I saw an answer where it was like, well, there's some that request that you actually like hand it to them, and I immediately was like, nope, I'm out. Nope, I'm done. I don't want to.
Yeah, I've never minded that. Again, when I started, it was like the peak of COVID, and so it was like all no contact delivery, which was awesome. And it was no contact when you picked up from the restaurant as well. You just walked in, there was no one in the building. You would just grab it from a table, go. It was great. Uh,
Dude, I don't understand. Like, I'm a very social person. Obviously, I have a podcast, but like when people deliver food, even to my house, I will sit and watch them out the window until like through the blinds until they put the food down, they take their picture of it. I've watched them. So and then they just walk away, and as soon as they get in their car, I scurry out to the porch and get my food, run
it's
back
like you
in.
feel guilty for ordering delivery. You're like
Yeah.
embarrassed
I'm like
about it.
I'm like, "Thank you." I just run back into the house. I may wave at them, maybe.
But dude, DoorDash, it was a wild time. I delivered like all kinds of stuff. I would deliver like flowers to people, and then you have to like be like, this is from so and so. Like on the description, be like, tell them this is from so and so. So you got to see a lot of like excitement from the flowers, and then obviously I delivered a ton of food, and again, pay is not like you're not. I mean, unless you're going full on 8 hours a day, you know, 5 days a week, it's not going to be a tremendous amount of money.
Do they adjust for like gas prices? Like I feel like lately, like what is gas right now? Like 360
Oh
ish.
yeah,
Like it. Like I feel like that's really going to cut into any kind of profits you would
yeah,
make.
it does. They do a little bit, and obviously like demand. So if like a lot of people are ordering at the time, then they'll have like hours where you get paid more. So DoorDash will be like, hey, we'll give you $3 extra on top of whatever you make on this delivery, and so they like call it like hot spot times. Um, so
Mm.
that was always a fun one, like looking for the hot spots, like looking for where is it real uh, busy.
it's like a it's like a Pokemon Center on on like Pokemon
Yeah,
Go.
oh yeah, it's like looking for it. So there was a little bit of fun in that too, but yeah, it was fun. It was a good time, but again, like the wear and tear on your car is really not worth it when you think about it. You're driving a lot, and the gas does add up. So not something I would do full time, but just for some extra cash, a couple $100 here and there to spend on whatever you want, feed those hobbies. It was a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
one,
yeah,
uh,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
for definitely. But then after that, I picked up summer school. These last 2 years, I've done credit recovery, and also we have like a summer camp program that I do as well. So credit recovery only runs for a week at my school, and then the rest of the time is like summer camp, 4 hours a day. It pays probably the best hourly of any of the ones I've done, and it
I'm sure it's pretty much like your teacher hourly pay for the most part,
essentially,
right?
essentially, yeah,
Okay.
35 or whatever. I don't know, an hour, something like that. It's a little bit
Yeah.
better, but it's obviously it's very much still just it's education. You get to kind of decide the curriculum since you're not kind of set to a specific curriculum you're looking at. You get to kind of choose since it's a summer camp, like an addition. So you have a little bit more autonomy there where you get to like really be creative with your lessons. And it's really a good time. to like test out new things that you've learned or anything you want to like try for next year. It's like a good trial
Yeah.
run. Um,
It's the
it's
demo.
the demo. That's exactly what it is. And I do a lot of like experiments, a lot of fun like hands-on PBL stuff there, and I get to kind of see what I like and what I don't like. That's where I get my ice cream project from. That's where I started doing that, and now
Okay, yeah.
every winter we make ice cream in my class, talk about chemical reactions. It's a lot of fun, homemade ice cream. So um, so yeah, that's about it for like the history of my summer fun. Now the goal has always been and will always be to get into a hobby store like a card shop, but turns out that is a lucrative business. It turns out a lot of people want to work at card shops, and I
Lots of applicants wanting to get paid to play Magic the
lots of
Gathering.
applicants, and I'm like, I'm trying, I'm easing my way in, but
If you're one of those rare teachers who happens to own a card shop, Wes is
I
looking.
am
He's on
in the market.
the hunt.
Yes.
Okay, so those are some ideas that we kind of initially had, and we reached out to the community and asked some of our friends over on Facebook and elsewhere if they could share anything that they have done over summers to try to earn a little extra money, because it is an excellent time to do so. And we're going to share some of those out and kind of shout some people out. But before we get to that, I do want to say that I appreciate Wes, and I definitely appreciate every single one of you who come and listen to us every week. It means more than you know. If you could do us a favor, as always, please consider recommending us to other people. Also, going over and just subscribing to us on iTunes or Spotify or whatever it is that you listen on. It would make a huge difference, and we would really appreciate it. So that's that. Let's go ahead and get into our community shout outs now. So, first one that we had, and a very I don't know the word I'm looking for, consistent poster on a lot of the things that we do, is Regina Elliott. And Regina posted and said that she did a couple of things during summers. One of the things that she said, just like Wes, is that she painted during the summers. Now, I think she means more on probably a kind of a private type thing, probably in housing, I would assume. Not entirely sure. And then also did summer retail. So working in some kind of seasonal shop or something to where it's, they're looking for a few extra hands during the summer. Can always be something to look into. It's kind of crazy, dude. Like, actually, Target here pays like 18 an hour, something like 15, 18 an hour. I feel like when I was a kid, Target paid, like, the retail stores in general paid like $5 an hour, $6 an hour.
Yeah.
Like, it's come a long
Yeah.
way, but dude, grocery bill right now is wild.
It's insane.
Like, it's wild. Like, inflation is rough, dude.
Well,
It is.
I mean,
rough.
you were talking about the gas prices, and my father-in-law the other day was like, "Hey, I got diesel for cheaper than gas."
That's crazy.
Like diesel is like $2.89 a gallon, and gas is like $3.50.
Dude, have you seen This Is the End?
Yeah.
With, like, there's the scene where they go through Taco Bell and they buy $20 worth of tacos, and he's like, "We went through Taco Bell and we bought $20 worth of tacos. Do you know how many tacos you can buy at Taco Bell for $20? Infinite, infinite tacos. Not anymore, dude. I went there the other day and bought. It was like a 3 soft taco supreme meal. It's like $11.
Well, that's your problem right there, man. That is your issue. You got to go with that dollar menu.
Do they even have?
They do, and it's actually very good.
Okay, well, I'll have to check it out. But I know Nolan.
Cheesy rice and bean burrito is on the dollar menu. It is great.
Well, I'll look into it, but I can tell you, my child, he wants the sour cream and the tomatoes. I think he pretty much just eats that more so than anything else. So
just get a side order of sour cream and tomatoes, mix it together, maybe a tortilla, and slap it on there.
I need to just bring it home and put sour cream on it myself. Anyways, seasonal retail, I think it would be a good idea for some people. I think any more people are looking for summer gigs that is either remote, where you're sitting at home, or kind of on your own time,
Hmm.
right? I want to get out today and do it. Tomorrow I don't. Today I want to do it in the afternoon, or tomorrow I want to do it, in the morning, like whatever. Like I think people want or are looking for things that they can do on their own time. So, not so sure a lot of people would be into that, but if you're looking for something that's consistent and you really don't have to think about it too much. You just kind of show up and do it. um, that'd be probably pretty good.
Hmm.
The next one is Ashley, and Ashley was somebody who was a student of mine way back when my very first year of teaching. And if you are listening, Ashley, um, I can't thank you enough for commenting and telling us some suggestions. You've actually commented on a few things now, so we really appreciate it. But excellent student, excellent person, came from an excellent family. Still, I think her mom worked where I was working as well. Haven't seen them in a really long time, but um, she suggested cleaning houses and walking dogs. So two things. Um, Cleaning houses, it could be very lucrative, and I know it because I have paid people to come and clean my house. The worst part about having someone come in and deep clean your house is getting it ready to be cleaned.
Hmm.
That sounds crazy, but you spend the like, oh, I hope the cleaner doesn't see my dirty house. So like you spend time. Oh, this is embarrassing. I gotta clean this up.
Yep.
Like, oh, I spilled this last week. I gotta get. I can't have that there. Like, yeah, I guess like you have to understand. Like, they're coming to deep clean your house. They're coming to clean the things that you don't normally clean,
Hmm.
right? So that's the worst part. But a lot of people hate cleaning. So if you're like one of those people that's like, hey, I could chuck some AirPods in and just go ham on a go crazy on a floor or whatever. Like, hey, knock yourself out. It could be pretty
It
lucrative.
could definitely be. Yeah. Yeah. But both of these things that she suggested are just not in my wheelhouse at all. This will never be these will never be jobs that I will ever do in my lifetime.
Like the walking dogs.
I'm
I mean,
allergic
like
to dogs.
I know, yeah, yeah. I mean, my issue. I, bar- I barely walk my own dog. He and by barely, I mean, but basically, never. Very, 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 very. I let him outside, and he just kind of roams around outside out. But like, dude, if it's like freezing cold out, or like you got like seven of them that you're walking, I'm sure you can make some decent money.
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
it again, it's like cleaning houses. Like if it's something that people need to do but don't like doing, then you can make some good money on
Hmm.
it because if it's something you're good at, you enjoy, you love dogs. And I think she actually mentioned, hey, you can get some good exercise out of it too, which is great because weirdly enough, as a teacher, I put on weight during the summer and I lose it during the winter. I am the opposite of a bear. like, like I guess it's because I'm walking around school in the winter, and during the summer I'm guzzling Mountain Dew and sitting on the computer. So
That definitely could be a factor that's playing into it. Yeah, for sure.
so so yeah, it could be something that would get you out of the house and get you moving a little more. Because you just you kind of lose purpose during the summer a little bit, and sometimes you lose your way. So yeah, those are two really good options. Again, Ashley, thank you so much for continuing to post things, and I just want to throw this out there: the throwback picture that you kind of commented on. I think it was like a week or two ago. That is one of my favorite pictures of all time. I actually still talk about that picture to teachers and people today. I'm like, man, this is my first year. Look at me. I'm wearing a white t-shirt to work. Like I was so young. But I love that picture. Still one of my favorite classes that I've ever had. So awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Next one. Tish. Tish worked in the room with our dad actually for a number of years, and one of the best people. Love her to death. She was awesome. Dad still talks about her to this day very highly, and we haven't seen her in a very long time, but think about you very often. And she suggested drive Lyft and Uber. drive Lyft and Uber. And this is one of those things that, um, if you're comfortable with directions and driving in crowded places, can again be pretty. I mean, pretty lucrative,
Hmm.
and can be something that, if you're a social person. Or doesn't Uber like have doesn't it have like a setting now to where you can say, "Hey, I don't want to be spoken to"?
It does, yes, and I will admit that I have hit that one a time or two. So
Yes, I don't want to talk to
I
you.
don't.
Just press.
I want you to drive. That's it.
I chat people up in Ubers.
Oh, I've
You've
been
been
in
in
Uber
Ubers
with
with
you.
me.
Yeah, you do. Now, ironically enough, I actually really would like to drive for Uber. For some reason, when the role is reversed, it's almost like your delivery, like the opposite of your delivery issue. Where like when the role is reversed, I feel like I would be fine.
Like, oh, okay, you would be better off like actually driving. You think?
Yes.
Man, like driving, like, the thought of like driving downtown Cincinnati after a concert or something, or picking up people who are who have had a little too much of the sauce. You know what I'm
I know
saying? Like,
exactly what you're saying, and that's a
and
concern. But there is like a fee,
they're
you know that, right? Like if you get sick in an
yeah, yeah,
Uber, there's
yeah.
like a cleanup fee.
Well, I knew a guy who was driving Uber, and he picked up a group or a couple people, I don't remember, that was completely belligerent, and they screamed some remarks out the window at some people, very offensive remarks at some people, who then proceeded to take a bat or something of the sort to his car. And he was like, "I'm just the Uber driver." It's like, this isn't even their
Yeah,
car.
like you're doing
So,
literally nothing.
obviously, I'm sure that those cases are extremely rare, but, um, the hypochondriac in me, and it's not necessarily related, but I feel like the odds are in my favor for something awful to happen like that. So it's something that you have to
Hmm.
consider, that, because you don't have complete control over, the obviously, the people that you're transporting. So that can be a little dicey.
Hmm.
But and also, I am absolutely garbage at directions.
Oh yeah,
I dude, I do well to get from here to work in the morning, and I've been working there for 10 years.
people would be thinking you're
So
just like raising like the toll to get the toll up. I mean, like, this dude's trying to scam us.
yeah, dude, it's so bad. Like, I don't know if there was one time I left a school function, and we went out to eat, and I had to GPS my way there. I didn't even know where it was. I just GPS my way there. Well, we get there and we eat and we come out and my phone has died. So now, luckily, I have a charger with me. So I plug it up in my car, and I'm waiting for the phone to turn on. You know what I'm saying? When your phone's dead and you plug it up to your car, it takes
Forever.
27 years for it to turn back on.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for it to turn on. It's sitting there. I'm like, you know what? Come on, like, I'm an adult. I can find the interstate. I can get
I've
home.
only lived here
I
for
can get
12
home.
years.
Yeah, you know what? I can do this. I kind of, I'm like somewhere northeast. I think I can figure this out. So I take off. 20 minutes later, I'm sitting in a random neighborhood in somebody's driveway, just waiting for my phone to turn on so I can get home, dude. It's so bad, man. I just can't find my way around anyway. So that one is like me. That's like you on the last one, right? For the cleaning houses and the walking dogs. The driving, the Lyft, and the Uber,
Not for you.
is now, it's not in my skill set. Now, for other people, by all means, I think it's excellent. Use Uber all the time when we're vacationing and when we're out. I love the service. It's fantastic, super convenient. Love it. But it's not for me personally. But by all means, give it a shot if you're somebody who enjoys that kind of thing. All right. Our next one comes from Matthew Morris, who is a former principal of mine. Super good dude, ton of respect for my guy. Love him to death. He texted me actually and said that he used to umpire baseball games during the summer. And I actually have known a few people who have done that over the years. Back when we were in Kentucky, I knew some people who used to ump baseball games as well. And The thing about this, and this is kind of, you and I both sort of did this. We did not with baseball, but we did like tennis lessons
Mm-hmm.
here and there when we were younger. And I think any time that you can turn, because I know Morris was a big time baseball guy, coached it, played it. Um, Anytime that you can turn a passion or a hobby, something you love, into a little extra cash, I mean, that's just awesome, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
That's when things are like, life is good, right? Now, personally, I know nothing about baseball other than like you run to the bases and you score that way. Like I don't know any of the calls, and I also wonder like if it would be an issue of like, would you have like parents and other people in your ear, other coaches obviously in your ear, like over the calls and everything like that. Like I'm sure that would be a thing, but if you just love it, like I feel like if you love baseball, you love that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it may not always be great, but that's part of the game,
Yeah.
right? So I would imagine that people who are like really into baseball and love playing baseball, like you don't even care, man. You're just like, oh, this is a strike. I'm calling it, brother.
Yeah.
like, like it's just that's just part of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I
Um,
completely. I think so too. And we come full circle back to the hobby of me wanting to work at a card shop. This
it's like, in case anyone
I
forgot,
keep on. I'm throwing that out into the universe over and over again, hoping that one day it sticks.
if Wes ever gets a job at a card shop, you will be the first to hear about it here on Brothers on the Board. You will
Yeah.
know that has happened. Okay. Our last one comes from a former classmate of mine, Dan Brown. Really good dude. Haven't seen him in years. I know that he's commented on a few things here and there for the podcast. Love to hear from him. We need to catch up, Dan. If you're listening, it's really good to hear from you, brother. He also mentioned this credit recovery that he does at his school, but he also said that his district pays it's teacher hourly rate plus 15%. So if you don't know what your district's pay is or the incentive, because let's face it, it's not always easy to get teachers to work during summer. We can be some lazy creatures in the months of June and July.
Mm-hmm.
Go and check that out. See what your district's pay is. See kind of what kind of programs they offer, and who knows, maybe there's something there that could be lucrative for you during the summer. So, Dan, appreciate you commenting, brother. Would love to continue to hear from you. And I think I may have lied a minute ago. I said that was our last
You
one,
did.
but I have another one. I have another one creeping down here, which is bad because it's like my favorite one. Allison Payne, who is a teacher at my school, and know her pretty well. Been working with her for a couple of years. She was actually a student teaching our teacher. I'm going to get this out in our room. She suggested a website called Data Annotations that she does. Now, this one is super interesting. Okay. What this is a company that pays you to help train artificial intelligence. You are essentially sitting down and fact checking artificial intelligence. You are correcting it. You're checking for errors. You are teaching it. You're training a computer to give information. Now, on one hand, it's remote. It's, as from my understanding, and I've not personally done it, but from my understanding, kind of work as much as you want, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Set your own hours, kind of thing. Looks relatively simple from what I could understand. I did dabble in the test a little bit just to kind of see what kind of questions they ask. So it would want me to fact check things, stuff like that. Didn't seem too bad. Um, but on the other hand, if you're not someone who really believes, if you're someone who is a little sketched out by artificial intelligence, and you're like, "Oh, am I training Terminator? am I am I having a part, playing a part in, then I don't know if that's necessarily some, because some people are a little weirded out by artificial
Mm-hmm.
intelligence. Personally, the way I look at AI is it is the future. The way, whether we like it or not, it is the future. And personally, I believe that if you don't embrace it, now I do believe there needs to be regulations on it to some degree. I think you have to. It can't just be allowed to run rampant
Hmm.
because of the consequences it could have for society. But if you don't embrace it and you don't use it, you threaten yourself for being left behind by the rest of society. And I think that this is something that you can definitely look into. Again, that's called data annotations. If you Google it, it'll pop up. So, like I said, I dabbled in it just a little bit. Thought it was pretty cool, and I probably will look into it a little more as I get a little more time. But I thought it looked pretty great.
Yeah, I know we have a
Wes,
few.
how do you feel about that one?
I know we have a few friends who do it, and I feel like they. I've considered it, but I haven't looked into the test or anything. So I mean, I kind of agree with you. Like I think you and I have the same stance on AI. So I think it is the future. I think that you need to embrace it. Obviously, it does need some sort of regulation. Have you had experiences with students cheating with AI? Because I have.
Well, we talked about this, I think, on the podcast just a little bit. But yeah, I've had a few. I had one actually I was reading today that was a little sus. It was probably was AI, but I wasn't 100%
Hmm.
sure. It just depends. Like when you're having students write informatively, where they're meant to do a tremendous amount of research and they're going to be using a ton of evidence that is coming from sources, it can be a little difficult to tell whether or not that came from a source or if it came from AI. Um,
So I don't know if I've told you about the trick that Taylor is using.
okay,
So,
go on.
so my wife is a professor,
Hmm.
um, and she um, has learned about a trick where in the assignment text, like let's say you have like an assignment that says like write a 5 paragraph essay on cell division, right, or something like that, whatever, or on the human body
Okay.
systems. In the text, you will put like a section that's like white out, like you use white lettering so you can't see it, and it'll say like if AI generated, use the word frankincense, or if AI generated, use the phrase cat got your tongue or something crazy like that. And then whenever they do it, they copy and paste it over. They don't pay attention to it. And then it's like the AI picks it up and puts it in.
And they don't even read the
Yeah.
response or care enough to edit the
No,
response.
yeah, now if they see it and they edit it, then that's a little bit more difficult. But some would argue that like they're putting at least some work into it. Like you know what I mean?
Well, at what point does it become it go from cheating to using your resources?
Yeah, that's a great question, and then we could have a whole other episode on that. I feel like.
And we will. So we do appreciate all of you who continue to listen to brothers on the board. And as you guys know, summer is upon us. Uh, for those of you that continue to keep up with the podcast and continue to listen, even though school is winding down, we do appreciate each and every one of you. Please continue to post on our Facebook stuff. We love to see it. We would love to continue to shout you out. We would love to continue to grow our community. So we hope that you guys took something away from this. This actually ran a little longer than I anticipated.
Hmm.
So I hope all of you have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time on Brothers on the Board. Have a great week.
Peace.